Welcome to an all-new Nerds to Men. I am Brad Reed.
I'm your boy Cameo.
What if it wasn't an all-new Nerds to Men? Would I be like, welcome to a rerun, and that would be time travel and weird somehow?
Yeah, that would be weird.
Yeah, so... But it just seems like maybe
but also kind of cool.
Maybe I should stop saying welcome to an all-new. Like, that people doesn't know that.
Yeah?
I don't want to insult people's intelligence here.
No, you don't want to do that.
No. But I also want to let them know it's all new.
Yeah, you could
big and flashy.
You could put it in the title.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
The all new Nerds to Men.
Uh-huh.
Then it sounds like it's something like maybe where I'm the host now and you're gone. The all new Nerds to Men, new and improved. No. I feel like that's what they'll assume is that Cameo's no longer on the show.
And then there was what?
And Cameo quit, and Brad was really sad about it. Oh, man. Well, we are here to do two things. Chew some gum.
And have some fun.
No. Well, we could do both of those things.
Yeah.
But no, we're actually here to discuss the Joker movie.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
I thought we were going to talk about what we ate yesterday.
Funny enough, I'm not going to call out the theater that I went to.
You got the BGs?
Bro, like I got their hamburger and I'm like starting to kind of reconsider getting like food like that at the theater.
Uh-huh.
Because like, I'm not saying that they did, but I could see the want to hurry up and get your food to people so that they're not like late for their movie.
Uh-huh.
So maybe their little hamburger didn't get cooked as much as it should have. And then maybe Brad Reed woke up the next morning at like 3 a.m. and then didn't go back to bed because he was back and forth.
Ugh. Dude, I hate that. Yeah. When you're sick, oh man, I hate that.
And then you go back to bed with tears going out of your eyes like, I just don't feel good.
Right? And like you think like it's almost done and you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then your booty hole is just like burning.
Okay, I think that's. I think people know. They probably all, know.
And it's just the whole fact that it's burning.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to go like wipe it. Like it's raw from wiping so much.
Yeah, that too. Yep. You're just. Heath Ledger finally.
He fell.
Yeah, but yeah, it was overall not much about it was fun. But like I say, I'm not going to call out the place the theater I went to, but it was a very nice theater. I love that theater in Midwest City. It's very nice.
Because we don't know which one you're talking about now.
Well, truth be told, I don't know that it was the hamburger.
Yeah.
I could have got something from some kid or something.
Right.
But anyway, I digress. But you did bring up what we ate yesterday, and I did feel like I got a little touch of the food poisoning. But the other thing is, too, and I haven't been eating meat. I've been eating a lot of, like, vegetarian food and, like...
Maybe that was it.
Fake meat? Yeah, because, like, when you go back and eat meat after you haven't for a while, it kind of messes you up. So it could have been that.
Yeah, dude, I remember when I was not eating meat for a while, and I went back, dude, I could totally tell the difference.
Yeah, I've been eating a lot of chicken and stuff lately. So, but the other thing that's kind of weird, and I know that people are like, "Are you going to talk about the Joker?" Or but we're talking about our whole experience now.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird because at the place that I went, they serve food. But it's kind of weird if other people beside you aren't eating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I pull open like this box with this, gourmet hamburger, undercooked, and no, I'm kidding. Maybe. And like, of course, it's the smell is wafting out of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, But I could also see the guy next to me probably being like, gross.
Right.
This jerk over here. And what if he's a vegetarian, like a hardcore vegetarian?
Yeah.
Not like me who just dabbles, but it's like, I'm a vegetarian.
You're right.
No, I'm not. I don't really. But I'm trying just to eat better. But this guy could have been like this douche.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then again, it's like the other part of me thinks, you're going to a place where people, that is an option. So you can't be mad about it if people do.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. I get anxiety like at turning in the left lane and like, oh, I'm gonna hold people up, you know. And I had to tell myself, you know what? You are entitled to that spot.
Exactly.
So I'm entitled to sit there and eat my dang burger. But I didn't eat my burger. That was the thing. So like I tried to get it out of the box discreetly without, you know, and like it was falling apart.
Oh, I hate that, man.
And so I was like, you know, okay, I'll cut it up and like eat pieces, little pieces. Because I'm feeling weird in the theater about it. And so I start cutting it up and I mess it all up. Like, you know, bun is over here, onion is over here. And so I was like, okay. So I just closed it back up. I was like, I'll eat it when I get home. And so that's probably, if anything, I probably should have heated it back up. That's probably what happened. So blame me. Don't blame the theater.
I'm going to blame
But the next time I go to the theater, I might just eat nachos.
The nachos weren't bad. The nachos weren't bad when I had them.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like I almost got chicken wings. That sounded delicious. But you know what? Like, do you really want to sit there eating chicken wings? You know what I mean? Greasy chicken wings.
Salmonella.
Yeah. Like, does that sound fun to do at the movie? You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those things. Like I have weirdness about all that. So I'm like, let me just give me the burger and the fries. And so I just ate the fries because that was the least obtrusive thing to the people around me.
Yeah.
And I bet the person around me probably wouldn't have cared one way or the other if I was chomping on a burger or not. But then again, this wasn't like one of those movies. It wasn't like a Marvel movie or Justice League or, you know, where it's like big action the whole way through. And so you can get away with chomping on burgers because you can't hear it over the explosions and whatnot anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This was a lot quieter movie. And so I just felt weird about sitting there chomping away. I know, I'm a nerd. Did you saw it at a different theater. We didn't go to the same one.
No, we didn't.
So, you know, did you go see it like IMAX or anything like that?
No, I just saw it regular. But it was in one of their big theaters. I went to Quell. I think I was in Theater 1. Yeah.
So I want everybody to know from this point forward in the podcast.
Oh, sorry, Theater 2. Theater 1 is IMAX. Sorry.
I'm hoping you've seen The Joker by this point.
Yeah.
Because if not, either one or two things is going to happen.
You're going to get upset because we spoiled something.
No. You need to turn it off.
Oh, okay.
And go watch it and come back and watch this. Or
2, you're going to get upset.
Well, like I got a buddy, Travis, my buddy that does the tattoos.
Yeah.
No regrets down in the Plaza District. Cheap plug. No, but he loves spoilers. I actually, for the most part, I didn't want this movie spoiled. But there's some movies that I think I've even been asking you, like in some cases where I'm like, well, what happens? And you're like, no, I'm not gonna tell you. I'm like, just tell me. I don't care. So some movies I don't really. It's not that big a deal. But this movie, I remember starting to read a couple reviews, and I was like, no, I don't want to know any more about this one. But I will say, I knew enough about this movie that it kind of played out in many of the ways that I thought it would. So I say we just dive right in.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
So spoilers.
Spoilers.
We're not going to say it again because
Spoilers.
Well, we'll say it a couple more times right now.
Spoilers.
But here, you've been warned.
Spoilers.
All right. So let's
There's
just start.
probably going to be something popped up that says spoilers too.
We'll start on the last show, but maybe some people didn't see that. We talked about just our general idea. So we have this thing where we say whether it's a pee movie or a no pee movie, which means did you get up to pee or did you hold it like against all pain and discomfort because it was such a great movie?
Right.
This was obviously for me a no pee movie.
Yep, same here.
So let's get that out of the way. I loved this movie. I thought it was wonderful in the writing, the pacing, the cinematography, Joaquin Phoenix as an actor, Todd Phillips as a director. I loved everything about this movie. I thought that it was sad. I thought that it was exciting. I thought that it was shocking. But not so much shocking in a way of I can't believe they did that. But
Yeah.
more of, I didn't expect that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there were those things. And so, but I kind of want to address the controversy leading up to this movie.
Okay.
So a lot of people were saying that this was going to be like a movie about a guy who was basically a domestic terrorist, and possibly would encourage other people in real life to maybe do what this guy did. And I have to feel like that's a legitimate concern.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it was based off of not seeing this movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, to me, this Joker was not a domestic terrorist.
No.
So
Did he inspire people in a way? Yes.
maybe we'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
We'll get to that.
Oh, we're slowly getting to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll slowly get to that.
Okay,
But in the movie, was he inspiring people? Yes. But at the same time, I could think of worse movies.
Oh,
And it is a weak argument that Todd Phillips, somebody asked him about this, and he was talking about how he doesn't even want to make comedies anymore because of woke culture. And like, it's hard. And you know what? My thoughts on that is learn to make movies that aren't, you can be like this movie. You can be edgy. That doesn't mean you have to be offensive.
Yeah.
Or hurt people, so find humor that everybody can laugh at. That's what I say. But whatever. I thought he did great with this movie. So if he's going to keep making movies like this, fine.
Yeah.
But it goes back to, he did say, well, I don't get it because nobody is making the same argument regarding John Wick and those movies. Now, my thing would be like, okay, John Wick is a movie about a assassin that's killing other assassins, and it's so freaking ridiculous that everybody kind of knows it's just over the top.
Yeah.
This movie is about a guy who's killing normal people, and that kind of, that's more real. There's more realism in this movie. And so because there's more realism in this movie, and that's what a lot of film, a lot of cinema aims for, is realism.
Yeah.
As opposed to fantasy. So you're going for a movie that delves a little bit more in realism, even though it's based on a comic book character.
Yeah.
You kind of got to take that into account. However, I would say Fight Club was more of a domestic terrorism story.
Yeah. I can see that.
I mean, that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
And of course, I have the theory that was the Joker. That was
Right.
Heath Ledger's Joker. But
No, Jared Leto.
was it Jared Leto's?
Yeah.
I thought the original theory was that it was Heath Ledger's Joker
Jared Leto.
before all of that. And then I changed it to where... No, it was. So Heath Ledger's Joker was supposed to have come from like Tyler Durden or one of those. Like,
oh, okay.
People think that Tyler Durden ended up being Heath Ledger's Joker or something like that.
Okay.
But I was saying because Jared Leto's character was in Fight Club and he gets his face smashed in, he also comes from that.
Gotcha.
Anyway, long story short. But so that to me would be a little bit more. Of course, that was a different time.
Yeah.
That movie came out, I believe, in 99, and it was a different time. But at the same time, movies have been coming out like for ages that have violence or stuff like that. And I just don't. It's weird that we're kind of at this spot now where we can't have art without it being controversial.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
Well, and I
what
also,
he did in the movie to me wasn't even. I wouldn't consider him a domestic terrorist. I wouldn't.
No, I mean, at least not in this.
Yeah, not yet.
In this origin film, do I see where people could, get turned away? Yeah, but they didn't look at the whole.
Well,
the whole picture of everything.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, there was some things that happened to where towards the end of the movie where everybody was up in arms and doing the most, but that was because of a cop killing a random person.
Yeah. And so again, this movie's set in the 70s, but it definitely rings true to today.
Yeah.
So, but I think probably what people are uncomfortable with is the fact that, again, this isn't new, but that this movie's more sympathetic to this character.
Yeah.
Of Arthur Fleck, who then becomes homicidal. And so we don't want people looking up to a person like this. But here's the thing. In real life, there are villains.
Yes.
There are good people and there are bad people. But there's a lot of gray in those bad people's lives that led them to either be black or white.
Yeah.
And I mean, good side, dark side, whatever,
Yeah.
But there's a lot of gray in between. And that's what they show in this movie. They show all the gray that led up to some people might have the same exact circumstances and become better, stronger. And some people might choose a darker path.
Yeah.
Now, let's back that up because you also have to add in the element of mental illness.
Yeah.
This is the first time I think we've seen this kind of mental illness in the Joker.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, any Joker has you could tell, like, oh, they're crazy.
Yeah, but this actually
wasn't, and I don't mean crazy in a negative way. I'm saying like where you take it a little lighter.
Okay, so let's. Crazy is kind of like a harsh term with people with mental illness.
Yeah, and that's what I'm not meaning it in a mental illness way, but I mean it like zany, over the top.
Right, wild.
Yes, wild. Yeah.
And this Joker, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is like he took Joker to a different place where we've never seen a Joker before.
I loved what they did with the laugh.
Yes.
How it's more of a tick.
I will say
how it's more of like a something he can't control.
I will say that his laugh though reminded me of like a mixture between of all the Jokers.
Oh, it was a great Joker laugh, but it made it so much more uncomfortable the way that he did it in the movie where he can't control it. It's coming at times that he doesn't want to laugh.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, well, I don't say really funny, but the first time you see it, you don't know why he's doing it.
Yeah.
Like he's just laughing because I think it opens up of him laughing, and he's talking to his therapist or whatever she is, and she's just like looking at him like, okay, and you're just like, why is he laughing? Like, oh, okay, yeah, this is the Joker. Like he's already the Joker. No, that's not it. He, like Brad said, he has a condition to where he'll laugh. Like he could be sad.
Yeah.
And he's
uncomfortable.
Just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Just laughing.
Yeah.
And you can see that it gets to a point where it hurts.
Yeah.
Because he's like coughing.
It's making him sick.
Yeah.
So it's physical. Yeah, it's physically uncomfortable. It's socially uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an amazing technique that they used, I thought. I really enjoyed this look at the Joker, Arthur Fleck. And I really thought that it brought out a lot of great things to consider as far as mental illness. There was parts in the movie where he's talking to this therapist that's basically assigned by the city through their programs. And she's basically sitting there not listening to him, like you said. And he's like, every week you ask me the same things. You don't listen to me. Mm-hmm. You don't really care. We're just filling time here.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not saying there aren't people out there doing great jobs in the mental health area, but I felt that like from personal experience.
Right.
Like I was like, this movie is taking a real look at what, at a person who is disturbed and who needed help and who didn't get help. Instead, he got the worst of society and it created the worst in him.
Yeah. And, people that have an outlook on life, whether it be bad or good, that's how they're going to act.
Yeah.
if somebody doesn't get the help, or if they don't have the I would say get help. I would say,
or I mean, all of that understanding, because
understanding.
There was a cry for help in the movie where he writes in his journal, the worst thing about having a mental illness is everybody expects you to behave like you don't have one.
Yeah.
And that's so true. Like the way we treat people who are depressed or suicidal, like how could you be so selfish?
Right. Right.
How could you think in a way that isn't like mine, because obviously we're not thinking the same because you've got different things going on in your life.
And what people don't understand is that there's a chemical imbalance.
Sure.
And like people want to say, well, here, take some pills. Pills don't always help.
No, they don't.
They don't. I mean, that's, yeah, okay, cool. And if you really like listen and look at these commercials where they're, talking about depression and stuff like that, just to be funny, cause diarrhea.
Oh,
may cause suicidal thoughts. I mean, all these things, like, it's just,
Bro, I have had to take some of those in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Not one time has it ever worked out. Like migraines, different things that I could tell you off the air that I don't want to tell you right now.
Yeah.
It's not good. I mean, I've told you a little bit about about my past and like my dealing. I'm of course not anything like the Joker.
Right.
But I've had struggles with mental health. I'm not ashamed of it, but I don't really want to like go into it at this point.
Yeah.
But I did think that, man, there was a lot of stuff that I saw was relatable.
Yeah.
Even though, and I'm sure that's what makes people uncomfortable, is like, oh, well, man, this guy is a little bit relatable, but he's also a monster, and I don't like that. But that's why I liked it, because it made you uncomfortable, and it's a movie, and it's supposed to get some kind of reaction.
Yeah, and
one way or the other.
Yeah, and you might think, yeah, man, y'all are crazy. How could y'all pick the side of the Joker? You haven't seen this movie. If you're watching this,
and I'm not picking the side of the Joker, but I am saying
he had a reason.
Yes, the way that people treated him throughout this movie. And let's just get into it. So let's get into it.
All right.
Okay. So and we talked about this. I think, and we're spoiling. So, I mean, we're going to talk about things again. Hopefully while you're listening to this, that we're spoiling.
Yeah.
But I think that the kill count for the Joker was about 8.
I say
give
7.
or take.
7.
Yeah.
7 for sure. 7 for sure that we've seen.
But 5 out of those 7 or 6 out of those 8 were people that had really mistreated Arthur Fleck. Whether it was a guy who tried to set him up at work and get him fired, or these guys who were beating him up,
or just making fun of him.
And he got beat up earlier in the movie, and so you kind of see this is kind of like and this time it was due to his condition too.
Yeah.
So all these things, and you find out that his mom has lied to him. She's crazy. I don't like to say crazy. She's mentally unstable as well, because there are people out there that that does hurt them when you say crazy.
Yeah.
So I apologize for that. But she did have issues of her own.
Yeah.
And ended up treating him horribly. So
neglecting him.
Yeah. All these people he had legitimate gripes against. Now, you don't go kill people.
No.
We all know this. But for a character in a movie, there's some kind of, I don't know, satisfaction seeing him get his revenge.
Yeah.
Because it's a movie.
Yeah.
It's a character. It's not real.
Right. And
it's a fantasy.
People might argue, well, what about all the serial killers? You feel for them? No, I don't feel for them.
No, I don't. I don't feel for what they did. But like when you look at Charles Manson's life and you see how from a young age he was treated horribly, he was in.
Well, see, and that's the thing too. Like I'm not saying if I was treated horribly and I killed someone, I wouldn't want somebody to feel for me.
No, but there's
you got to look at the past.
There's no harm in investigating what traumas led to this behaviors, and hopefully maybe understanding that you can prevent that in the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but again, so we've talked for 20 minutes about mental health and how it pertains to this movie and the reactions that it caused us. I mean, that should tell you how great this movie is just in the fact that it's moving.
Yeah.
It moves you in a way that other movies just don't do.
And it also, kind of makes you look at our healthcare.
Right.
Like they got rid of the healthcare in Gotham City.
Yeah. And they told him, they don't care about you. They don't care about me.
Yeah.
And that it was funny because the person he was talking to, you really got the idea that she really didn't care about him.
Right.
She was more concerned about herself. But at the same time, she was letting him know this is what's what.
Yeah.
And so you're on your own. He asked, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to get my medicines? I'm sorry. That's the best she could do. So, yeah, I mean, it was real talk there. There was a real statement on how we treat people and how the world can wear people down.
Yeah. And and that, and you don't even really have to have a mental. I'll say this: everybody has a mental illness. It's just what's your breaking point. I know. I'm not saying that I'm perfect or anything like that, but I've had my moments.
Sure.
Like there's been multiple times where I'm like, okay, like I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, I mean, there's always a breaking point for someone, and Joker, even though that he was taking medication, it wasn't helping. He took it off, or he took himself off. Well, he really didn't have a choice, but he got off of it. And now what we're seeing is the sum of all of its parts now.
Right. Yeah.
You might, like with Joker, 'cause he said, I've never been happier since I've been off, or something like along those lines, that I've never been happier since I've been off, or something.
Yeah. Because he quit taking his meds, and he was killing people.
Right.
So
right.
now he's in. But I want to get back to that.
Okay.
Okay. But I do think I understand why people are a little uncomfortable, because they think, oh man, this movie might be kind of glorifying this guy who, instead of overcoming, he embraces and he starts doing these things. And so then he's killing people that are innocent in a way, but they're not. But they, in all reality, they weren't, they didn't murder somebody, and so he had to go for revenge in that way. And again, it's all a movie. So I feel that it's weird that we have to really defend it, but at the same time, I'm just saying, I get why people are a little, but when you watch this movie, I don't feel like you come away thinking, I sympathize with this guy and I kind of would like to do that. I think you just kind of feel like, man, that's tragic that's what happened to him. But after that, you can't agree with what he did, because we're not that kind of people.
Right. Killing people is wrong.
Yeah.
In general.
Now, what would have been, so that's what I'm saying. Shocking, yes. Controversial,
no.
It wasn't controversial. What I feel is controversial, and I told you this because we had a conversation earlier where it was like, hey, let's try not to talk about the Joker movie before our podcast, but we had to talk a little bit. And I told you, I think the OA covered this. One of the, I think it actually might have been the first American Horror Story season. They had school shootings in these. To me, those are controversial because I don't like to see that as entertainment.
Right.
I just don't. I don't like to see that as entertainment. Now, if you want to make a, why do you like to watch people die at all as entertainment? I don't know. It's we could talk. We could have that conversation, I guess. But but I don't like. That's a little too.
It hits too close to home.
Yeah, and that's just that hurts my soul every time.
Yeah.
But again, I thought that they did a good enough job with this movie where you kind of get what he's going through. You don't agree with what he does in regard to it. As people, we need to adapt and overcome.
And see, another thing too, going back to mental illnesses, people that have that from looking at it on the outside. Now, if you do suffer from this kind of stuff, you can definitely tell me that I'm wrong. But what I've seen that's been portrayed in like movies and TV shows, that they have different lenses on, and it kind of reminds me of the Batman Who Laughs,
right?
Where he has to use that visor and he sees, the different, like I want to say outcomes, but like that part where he's fighting Alfred. Mm-hmm. There's a part where Alfred's saying, "I love you," but there's another one, "I own you," or something like that, or however he says it. So it's they hear and see different things, and that's what Joker was doing.
Right.
And there was a whole scene or a few scenes, I should say, where Zazie Beetz, who did an amazing job, I honestly and truthfully, before I found out that was all fake, I thought she was going to be the next Harley Quinn. I thought she was going to be Harley Quinn,
and that would have been great. Okay. So that kind of brings us to my theory that I was telling you earlier. You didn't want to hear it.
No. I don't want to hear it just yet. I just want to go on and
go ahead
and talk about that part.
Yeah.
So through this scene, there's a part where it was actually when he got beat up and shoots the first or kills his first 3 kills, which I will say that it was in self-defense to a certain point.
Yeah.
To a certain point, it was self-defense.
Right.
And then the last kill was definitely,
Yeah.
I got you.
A little
sucker.
over the top.
Yeah. But yeah, after that, he goes to Zazie Beetz' room or apartment, because they live like 2 doors down from each other. And he starts, making out with her. So, they have like this whole sequence, oh, okay, they're, they had a moment in the elevator. What was it? Towards the beginning of the movie.
Sure, yeah, where she's with her daughter.
Yeah.
And she kind of gives him like a kind of like a
kids drive me crazy.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And
And so that stuck with him. And whenever he got his first 3 kills, he like I said, went to her room. They, did the nasty.
Yeah.
And then, then their kind of story, progressed.
Right.
Well, then when stuff hit the fan, when he found out, you want to go deep into spoilers?
Yeah, we're spoiling because this is
all
coming back. Like everything you're talking about, even is all coming back to my theory.
Okay, and so there was, so when all the stuff hits the fan, he finds out, that his dad is not really who his dad is from what his mom was saying.
Right. Finds out that none of it's like he thought.
Yeah.
He's actually adopted.
Yeah. He's an adopted, abused child, neglected child. And it didn't really say how far he was abused. I don't know if that was like sexually abused or just obviously physically and emotionally abused. So he finds all this stuff out, goes back to Zazie's apartment. She's like, "What are you doing here?" Like, not in those words, but she was like, "You're in the wrong apartment," and blah, 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 blah. And he leaves.
Right.
And so that's when everything goes downhill and you start seeing the things. There's parts where she came to his room or to his apartment and he was basically talking to air.
Yeah.
There was him at a diner. He was basically laughing and talking to himself.
Yeah.
There was whenever he saw the newspaper about, the killer clown.
Right.
She was like, saying, they deserved it. And all this time, she doesn't know that he was the one that did this.
Right. Yeah.
And so this kind of caused a movement. And now this is where you start seeing the Joker.
Right.
And, there was a part where he did stand-up comedy that he bombed.
Right.
But in one of the sequences before he found out that he bombed, he thought he was making everybody laugh.
Yeah.
So then more hatred started coming in when Robert De Niro's character, Murray.
Yeah.
That cracked me up. Murray basically put him on blast.
Yeah.
And then wanted him to come on the TV show. And there was I skipped a whole lot of other things too, but yeah, you just see his downward spiral after he found out the not truth.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, it's
Yeah, and because let's go back just a little bit because yeah, that's what really I think put him over the edge was I think coming to the realization that he was delusional about a lot of these things, but also the fact when he finds out that he finds two things out: A, his dad isn't who he thought he was, but B, his mom thinks that his dad is Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
Then finds out that's not true because
Right.
she's nuts. She's. I know. That's just I hate saying that like that, but we're talking about a character on a show,
Right.
on a movie. But yeah, because she's mentally ill herself.
Yeah. Delusional.
Probably, if not as bad as he is, worse.
But see, and I think with people that are delusional, obviously it's a chemical imbalance.
Yeah.
But it's also people just want to be happy.
Yeah.
Whether it be a fairy tale happiness or a real life happiness, I mean, people just want to be happy.
Well, you can go back to that early session with his therapist, and he tells her, "I haven't ever been happy one time in my life."
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just start my theory.
Okay.
Because he says something in that session, and then there's another scene before that I'll go back to. But remember when he tells her, like, up until kind of like now or his whole life, he hasn't even thought that he was real.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. So in the beginning, they are watching the show with this kind of Johnny Carson, David Letterman type talk show guy who is played by Robert De Niro. And he did great. I loved him in this movie. But like all of a sudden, he's in the audience and he's laughing, and I think he says something, and instead of Robert De Niro or Murray being like shut up, he's like, "Oh, you must be special," And
Yeah.
so he's feeding into his ego and this fantasy that he's having. But you start realizing, okay, like this guy's picturing himself like in this and all of this. That I think was put in the movie to let you know there's going to be a whole lot of things that happen that didn't really happen.
Yeah.
That is only in his mind. Okay. So I mean, that's obvious, but to the extent of what isn't real isn't necessarily all the time. You do find out that Zazie Beetz' character was, except for a couple times, not real at all. You find out that there's a lot of things. So I think my theory is this: Arthur Fleck was never the Joker. They were never in Gotham. All of this is his delusion. All of it. Like he was sick. He at some point it crossed, and like he just fully because when he went to the apartment and kissed her, that seemed off, right? Like they weren't even that. So he goes in and he just kisses her, and she kisses him, and it's like, no, that doesn't feel right to me. So even then I was like, no, that's not real. So I knew that wasn't real. I wonder, let's just say Arthur Fleck knows who the Joker was, knows Batman, Gotham, all of that. This is all in his brain. There is because there's another thing that he says that really threw me off.
What?
Okay, so when he admits that he killed the three guys on the, so obviously, like I said, I'm hoping people have seen this.
Yeah.
He comes on. He's on the train. These guys work for Wayne Industries, right?
Yeah.
But they're not nice guys. They're douchebags.
Yeah.
And so he offs them, and when he's admitting it on that show, he says something very interesting to me. He says, "I killed those Wall Street guys."
Okay.
Where's Wall Street?
In New York.
Where's New York in Batman and Superman?
Not.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's Metropolis or Gotham. Like,
yeah.
they've always kind of been the stand-in, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I even remember, a couple years ago, I did like the Jack and Ron podcast.
Uh-huh.
And they did like some trivia. You know how they did the Too Tough trivia?
Yeah.
Well, one of the questions I think was where are those places like located? And so people thought, of course, New York, but I think the answer wasn't even New York. It was somewhere else. But people who are watching or listening, correct me if I'm wrong, because I messaged Jerry Bennett this morning. I was like, there's not a New York City in Batman or Superman's world, right? And he's like, no, because remember in like Batman versus Superman, like you could see the cities from across the bay.
Yeah.
There's what are the flashes from
Star City. No, Central City.
Central City, arrows from Star City.
Yeah.
No New York City.
Yeah.
So why does he say I killed those guys from Wall Street?
Yeah.
I think that was a crack in the veneer to let us know Gotham might not even be real.
I don't know. Maybe Wall Street
was that. Maybe he overlooked it.
Maybe Wall Street is just a saying.
Why would it be a saying though if there was no Wall Street in New York?
I mean, it's
It could just be something that they all overlooked.
Well,
they really could have. I guess
Wall Street is basically like a like a subsection of Manhattan, like Lower Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what I took it as.
Because there was a Wall Street-esque. I'd have to go back and look. Remember with the Dark Knight? Was it? Which one was the one with Bane? Not Rises. Was it Rises?
Yeah, Dark Knight Rises. Yeah.
Because remember they go to like a Wall Street looking place and do whatever they did. So maybe there's a Wall Street in Gotham.
Yeah.
Or in Metropolis or wherever, but I don't know. That's just one of those things that I was like, is that a clue? Because there are lots of clues. That's one of the things that cinema versus just movies. There's usually like interior meanings. There's, you know what I'm saying? It's never just face value. Right. There's symbolism everywhere. Everything you see on the screen is meant to be there to tell you something.
Well, see, at the very beginning, or towards the very beginning, do you remember him pounding his head on the window?
Yep.
Well, he was in that white room at the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
So this whole time, either A, it's all in his mind.
Yeah.
Or B, this was basically him telling the story without basically narrating the story.
Right. Well, that's the thing. There's. Let me tell you just a couple of things before I get to that point. But, I'll just say, so have you heard of an unreliable narrator in movies?
Mm-mm.
So that's basically where Tyler Durden in Fight Club.
Okay.
He's telling you the story, but he doesn't know everything. Like he's got something wrong with him. He doesn't realize he's two of the same people. So this whole time he's telling you this story, but it's not reliable. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's and obviously the Joker, Arthur Fleck in this movie is an unreliable narrator, and he's not telling you the story, but every scene except for I think one or two has him in it. So he's the focus. So he's the unreliable narrator because this is his story, but you can't trust that everything you see is real.
Yeah.
Even if it's real to him. So, but like I say, most of the time in movies where you have directors who are more like auteurs, again, everything means something. There was another scene where he's standing in front of a mirror and there's two lights above him and one light's out and one light's on. And I think that's, just one of those little things that represents how he's not all lit. It's like even lighting in itself is symbolic in movies. Like you'll see in movies or TV shows, like when they're talking about something like under the table, like it's real dark and like they only have like a little bit of lighting on the face.
I just got this theory.
Yeah.
What if Bruce Wayne is actually Arthur Fleck? No. Look at it.
No, I know what you're saying.
Look at it though.
Yeah.
His parents gets killed by a clown. If you remember Flashpoint, where Thomas Wayne goes back over to Martha Wayne and she like puts her hand on her mouth and like just starts, hysterically laughing. What if this is actually Bruce Wayne growing up doing all these things?
It could be. And I'll tell you another when I get to this part, and you're gonna be like, it could go for me or your theory, right? But there has been the thing floated around. You've heard it.
Yeah.
That Batman is Bruce Wayne in Arkham, and all the villains are like all the people that work there, and different stuff. So I mean, there could be that, and they could have been inspired by that, and that could be kind of what's underneath all of it. I still think, just honestly, what I think is Arthur Fleck wasn't the Joker. This is all in his mind. And there's a scene at the very end of the movie, and you brought it up. He's been caught. He's in the hospital. He doesn't have green hair anymore. Now, they could have made him dye it, or it could have never been green to begin with.
Or, I mean, it could have faded.
Yeah. There's things
Millions
for that.
Of things, yeah.
But they chose to have him not have green hair in this scene. And he's like, I just thought of something funny. And she's like, what? And he doesn't. Like,
you wouldn't get it.
Yeah, you wouldn't get it. That all of this that I just made up, this whole story, was funny to him. Like, this was a great story, fantasy in his head of him being the Joker and all that.
Well, the funny thing is that it's basically like Heath Ledger's Joker. How he gave different backstories.
Yeah.
Like, this could have just been, one story that is, Heath Ledger.
Yeah. True. And that's what I love. That's okay. So like Inception and movies like that, where we brought this one up, where I think other people have said, nah, I didn't like that. I love that kind of movie where at the very end, like, you're like, what just happened?
Right.
And you have to think about it, and you still don't know.
Right.
This is that kind of movie.
Yeah.
This is that kind of movie where you're like,
listening to
there's
your
tons
theory,
of possibilities.
Yeah, listening to your theory, and then what my theory is, and then cross-referencing those, and then it's just like, oh, okay. Well, dang, what really did happen? Like,
we gotta watch it again.
Right.
Okay. So I mean, we talked about we had to discuss the mental illness because it was such a big part of the movie. Plus, it plays a big role in my theory, which is he is just Arthur Fleck.
Yeah.
Okay. But let's go back and let's throw all that out, and let's just talk about the last sequence, the third act, where he does become the Joker.
Okay.
That was amazing.
Man. And because I don't know if they were trying to pay homage to oh my God, I just said his name, Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
When he was riding in the police car.
Yeah, there was he didn't have his head hanging out the window.
Right, but
there was a similarity in those scenes. I thought, it was kind of, I was thinking about that, and I was like, well, maybe it was just to show how alone he is and how he's, but he's kind of gazing on his handiwork, and that's kind of Joker-esque. But it did seem like that was like you said, like an homage to that scene as well. And maybe if that theory is, maybe this is all different personalities of the Joker that exist in some Joker's head somewhere.
Yeah.
Whether it's Joaquin Phoenix or Heath Ledger or whomever. Maybe not. Hopefully not Jared Leto.
Yeah. Oh, please.
What was the movie with James McAvoy? Split.
Yeah.
So maybe there's like a ton of different Jokers in this one guy's head.
Yeah.
But that's why I love these kinds of films. That's why I love films too.
Yeah, and
because there's so many things you can read into it. Whereas Ant-Man,
right,
it is what it is.
Well, see, and the thing also too is if you watched our podcast where we just gave our thoughts on it, or listened to it, whatever. I said that this movie is its own standalone film.
Yeah.
So and you brought up Inception just recently. It makes you think. Like,
exactly.
And this is what's so cool about this movie is that, again, it's its own standalone film. Yes, they reference Bruce Wayne and the Wayne family.
Yeah.
But
very easily could have not been like a Joker. Batman
this
world.
could have just been This could have been a movie about a guy, suffering from mental illness, goes on a killing spree. He really didn't go on a killing spree, but
he kind of did.
I mean, but causing anarchy in a city, and you're like, okay, cool. This is,
and it still would have been a cool movie that made you think and all that. Just the element of the Joker and the Batman stuff, and so that was cool, man. So, how many times have you seen a movie or an animated movie that depicted the killing of Bruce Wayne's parents? Several times.
Yeah.
I thought this was one of the more beautiful depictions. And it was because there was a couple things that I had heard previously going into this movie that, there was the theory that he was going to be Bruce Wayne's brother.
Mm-hmm.
And they did almost go there, but as you know. And so I was like, please don't make that the Joker's origin, that he's Bruce Wayne's brother.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I don't know. And then also, I know that Jack Nicholson's Joker kills Bruce Wayne's parents in that movie.
In 1989.
Yeah, but in no other, I believe it was Joe Chill.
Yeah.
In a lot of the comic books and other places. But I didn't want this one to be, I'd heard too that people speculated that this Joker was going to kill his parents. And I didn't really want that to happen, but I liked how he's still responsible for it, the way it played out in this movie. The only thing that I didn't like really is just the fact that, like, and it's the same thing I didn't like about Gotham, is now the Joker's like so much older than Batman.
Uh-huh.
And we probably won't see. Oh man.
But you, like you've seen in comics, there's been different renditions of the Joker, and this could just be somebody that was like, you know what, I want to be this guy. Like, he knew what, the lower people in Gotham were going through. Thomas Wayne basically called us clowns.
Yeah.
So,
right.
I mean, there could be, somebody else that was far off worse than Arthur Fleck.
Yeah.
And that just was like.
That was a couple of the things that also felt off to me, was that he killed like 3 people, and then all of a sudden there's this big movement, like over 3 people. Like,
yeah.
I get that would be, pretty, especially in the 70s, but it was just 3. So you would have thought there would be more before people were like really freaked out about it.
And see, you know how like the media spins things, and these 3 guys. Thomas Wayne was like, oh, these 3 guys, they worked for me. Everybody that works for me is like family, and no, I didn't know them personally, but you basically, when you vouch for your family. Usually when you vouch for your family, if they didn't, treat you horribly, you're like, I'd do anything for my family.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you have a bigwig doing that for, 3 kids who were actually, jerks, it's like, okay, well, Arthur Fleck obviously knew, because we really don't know if he knew these people or actually killed these people.
Right.
But then you see something like that, and then you have, them cutting, the bigwigs are cutting the healthcare, and it's just like one thing after another. It's just like, what about us?
Yeah, right. Right.
And then he was like, whoever's doing this is, the people that I don't feel sorry for those who don't make anything for themselves, and if they can't, then they're clowns.
Yeah.
Thomas Wayne said that.
Yeah.
Not verbatim, but he said along those lines. And so, that was another thing that stood out to me, and kind of felt bad for the little people.
Yeah, totally. Which again, class war and all that makes a lot of good philosophy in there. So, but it just seemed like if I had any like doubts about the movie, it was that they sped up. Like, it seemed like the fact that I don't know, like maybe that should have taken a place over a whole like summer and let it kind of like, instead of like, it seemed like over a couple days.
Yeah.
But like where he's, I don't know, I guess maybe more a serial killer ish.
Yeah.
For them to make as big a deal of it as they ended up making it, where there's protests and there's all this weird stuff. But again, it was a different time, so possibly then they might not have been as, I know this is terrible, but as used to it as we are now, to where 3 people getting killed on the subway is shocking enough.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Well, then, having somebody do it in a different face.
Yeah.
Like doing it in a mask or,
And, I'm thinking more about the Wall Street thing. And like I said, there was what looked to be Wall Street in that the Dark Knight Rises. So maybe just as they, there's a DC and all that, maybe that Wall Street is enough of like an American institution that they are like, okay, there's a Wall Street in Gotham or stuff like that. But again, I still don't think that takes away from my theory that I really kind of do believe this, that Arthur Fleck was never the Joker. But again, when you get to the third act and he does become the Joker, I just thought the way they filmed it, him dancing,
man. Okay,
I want to he's just free and light and just able to be himself more than he'd ever been.
Yeah,
and it sucks. It sucks that he has to kill people to do that.
Right.
But again, that plays into that fantasy part of of maybe that's what he thinks would get him acceptance and loved by these people. Did that really happen? I don't know. But in the movie, it portrays it as, he starts becoming more, they do adopt the clown as their, kind of like how people use the V for Vendetta for like Anonymous and stuff.
Yeah.
The clown now is their symbol. But, here this guy goes on TV and admits it and all that. And so then he kind of becomes the face of this revolution. Whether that's in his mind or it really happened, I really thought it was really well done the way they filmed it, and just that whole end. What do you think about the end and the murder of Bruce's parents and all that?
Like I said, man, I enjoyed every single piece of it. It was just, I don't know, like you said, the dancing. I'm a dancer, so that spoke to me.
Yeah.
Like, there has never been a time where I've danced and never felt free. Whenever you get in the moment. Sorry, I'm gonna say movement. Well, both really. They're like
Mom spaghetti.
Yeah. There's vomit on my sweater.
You gotta let the moment.
Yeah. So I mean, like it's just a natural high.
Yeah.
I mean, back in, I don't know how far ago, but there are tribes that dance until they feel like they have like an outer body experience.
Right.
And I felt that with Joker.
Yeah.
Well, I say with Arthur Fleck. Whenever he, got his first kills, he goes into the bathroom and he's like, I don't, like what? And then that music starts and then he's just like,
yeah,
just feeling the music.
Yeah.
And that was his high. Like that was something that, he felt like he, stood up finally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cause whenever he was lied to or lied on from his buddy at work, he was like, what am I going to do? Like, I got to take care of my mom. I'm not sure. He didn't say all that, but all that stuff. But I will say though, that all of that was amazing.
Yeah.
Like he portrayed this character, got in, like it was a character study.
Right. Yeah.
And it was
totally.
just so amazing that like you've never seen a Joker portrayed this way.
No, that's right. Because Heath Ledger was the anarchist. Jack Nicholson
was a gangster.
Yeah. Jared Leto was the Thuggalo.
The horrible.
Yeah. The Juggalo Joker.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we didn't, and just the way that Joaquin Phoenix played this character where he almost had like a childlike look at the world. Where
he tried to.
Where he was kind of naive, but he was hurt and he was traumatized. But then again, where people have to adapt, overcome, get help, all that, he went the other way.
Yeah.
And so, but I thought it was, man, I thought it was a beautiful movie. I really did.
It was. I
I
mean,
really did, and it was like it makes you feel things. It makes you feel things. Like, do I like this? Well, no, it's not everything I like because some of it's kind of revolting. But that's what a movie, like, a great movie is going to make you have all these different emotions.
and I feel. Did you see his interview on Jimmy Kimmel?
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that because, okay, so
I did feel because I saw the interview before I saw the movie. I actually watched the interview before I went to the movie,
right,
just to see what he was saying. And Jimmy Kimmel basically was making fun of him the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I was like, yeah, I laughed when he was talking about him dancing because Joaquin Phoenix was talking about the choreographer and all this stuff. And Jimmy
was there choreography for that?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
He's
because on Chris Hardwick's podcast, he said he didn't mention that, but he did say that he grew up dancing all different kinds of styles and stuff.
Yeah, and he was telling Jimmy Kimmel that, and Jimmy Kimmel was like, what did you do? And I felt like Joaquin Phoenix didn't really want to like talk about it.
Yeah, he's pretty guarded, I feel like, in his interview. And like going back to before you get to this video, like Chris Hardwick was asking about like his acting style, right? And it was kind of funny because he kind of put his foot in his mouth because he was like. I think it kind of surprised me too. I kind of assumed that Joaquin Phoenix would be like a method actor because he's so serious about it. And then there was that movie. Do you remember a while back he did a movie where it was like a documentary and he went on David Letterman. He had like long hair and glasses.
Oh, I didn't see that, but I heard about it.
And he was giving David Letterman like he wasn't really talking to him. And David Letterman supposedly didn't know that it was all performance art. So I think people assume from that he's like a method actor. And so Chris Hardwick was like, I really like how much work you do and put into your character and not just like going on set and being like hippy dippy about it and letting the inspiration come as. And he was like, well, that's kind of what I do. He's like, I don't just, I'm not a method actor. I do kind of, let inspiration go where it's supposed to. Yeah. And so later on, he's asking about the dancing, I think, and like what kind of styles. And he goes, well, are you going to make fun of me again? He goes, oh, I didn't mean to make fun of you. He's like, well, you kind of like, we're talking about how my dancing or my acting was kind of hippy dippy. And that's like the way I do it, Yeah. And I was like, I could see why that would be annoying though. Like, you know. You did kind of call it like, and then that's the way he does do it.
Yeah.
But I did, just for all of that to be said, I did think he was more of a method actor. And so when I saw this video, I kind of didn't really think Joaquin looked all that much like a dick.
Yeah. I mean, going back to Jimmy Kimmel's deal, like he could, like I just saw this tweet where this guy says, you all do realize that Phoenix was in on the joke with Jimmy Kimmel.
That's what I was going to say. I think that because, when they come back from the video, he's like, that's kind of embarrassing. Like, I didn't know y'all were going to show that, blah, blah, blah. I think because of going back to like the David Letterman thing and all that, I think that Joaquin Phoenix does have a sense of humor. And I think that was all of a joke.
It might have been. But there was a part where, and see, that's what I don't really care about, or really like when you're an actor and then you can act off stuff. Yeah. But there was a part where he was talking about the dancing. Yeah. And he was saying Joaquin Phoenix was saying, breakdancing was something that he really enjoyed doing. Yeah. And I could tell you, years of dancing, you could tell that Joaquin Phoenix had some type of training.
Yeah, for sure.
I've known people that dance for 9 years and can't do anything.
Right.
But anyways, there was a part where he said, he was like, so did you used to go out, dancing for people? He was like, no, I didn't really do that for admiration or anything like that. I just kept to myself. And, Jimmy Kimmel was like, just you and a piece of cardboard in your room?
Right.
And he starts laughing. And I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, what if he was doing that? You know,
And he probably was.
And Joaquin Phoenix says you're making fun of it.
Yeah.
But it was serious to me.
Yes.
And that's when I was like, oh, okay, this isn't real. Like I mean, this is real. Like and
I think that part was real. Yeah.
because when you start making fun of somebody, 'cause the whole thing with men dancing, especially classically, like ballet, modern.
Well,
all
yeah,
that,
it'd be like if I'm like, "Hey, Cameo, you're a dancer."
yeah.
Oh well, man. Thank gosh you're not a ballet dancer, right?
I actually did that.
Yeah, so that's what that would have been like.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to wear tights, and yeah.
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean,
Right.
what, you making fun of it? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I took off of it, because I mean,
Yeah.
there's been people that have done that to me. They was like, oh, I bet you did that. You wearing a tutu, didn't you? Actually, yeah, I did.
Yeah. Why would
Like-
you wear a tutu?
Well, I mean, check my Instagram at Cameo OKC.
Yeah.
You'll see.
No, but why? Why do you wear one?
Oh, I actually, men don't really wear tutus. It was just for this piece that I did.
Oh, okay. Got
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
I got you. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen anybody like a dude in a tutu, but
Yeah. I mean, but there
was
is
Jim
there is an all men dance company where they do like classic ballet pieces,
Cool.
like Swan Lake and stuff, and
Nice.
men, dressed in the
Nice.
tutus. But
so yeah, exactly. Like, well, at least you didn't have to wear tutus, bro.
yeah,
I did.
I did.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I feel like like you said, Joaquin Phoenix is a guarded person,
Yeah.
and there are some things that like will set him off,
Yeah.
and
Well, because I like you said, I think that dancing was something that was therapeutic for him, or in a way.
and honestly and truthfully, you can tell through his movement in oh my gosh, what's Joker?
Yeah.
So like you can tell, like when somebody's dancing just to dance, you can tell.
Mhm.
When you see there's actually like passion in it,
Yeah.
you can definitely
like
tell.
his dancing, it spoke.
Yeah,
It spoke. It wasn't just dance moves, but it spoke to how he was feeling.
right.
It was a transformational thing, and I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, man, I think there's so much that we could talk about in this movie still.
I know.
And I love this movie. So I want to see it again.
I definitely want to see it again.
I want to hear people's thoughts on it.
Yep.
And I think people should go watch it several times.
I'm telling you, this is like going over your theory and then my theory that I thought. Like, I have to see it again.
Yeah. And what we'll do, we'll put the Jimmy Kimmel video like down in the comments.
Yeah.
So people can watch that too.
Yeah.
So go to our comments so you can know what we're talking about with that interview, because it was pretty interesting.
It was.
Like I said, check out that. I think it's called the ID10. Oh man, it's Chris Hardwick's.
Okay.
He used to do the Nerdist, and then he went to a different company, started his own or something. So it's ID10 something, but it's Chris Hardwick's podcast. Like I said, he had Rob Zombie and Sherry Moon on not too long ago when 3 from Hell was released, and then just recently had Joaquin Phoenix, and it was a really enlightening interview, because I think Joaquin is earnest in his roles, and that's what sets him apart as an actor. Like he really appreciates the craft of acting, and he takes it seriously, and it means something to him, just like his dancing.
Yeah.
Just like all these things, and I think that Joaquin Phoenix, even though I think that he isn't really the Joker, I think he was one of the best.
I'd say he's up there with Heath Ledger.
And just because it's such a different Joker, like you can't compare them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's definitely up there as definitely one of the best. I really don't think we'll ever see this, and I kind of hope we don't, in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. I would love to see Joaquin Phoenix in another Joker movie and have Batman and all that. But then again, I kind of want to leave it where it is.
Yeah.
I want to leave it as this perfect, beautiful, moving, shocking, heartbreaking, tragic movie.
Yeah.
Just as it is. Now, let me ask you this before we go. This would be
Okay.
your walk-off home run.
Okay.
Are there any other... Because again, at the end of the day, this was a DC Warner Brothers movie.
Yeah.
This is based off a comic book, even though it doesn't... or a comic book character. It doesn't feel like a comic book movie.
Right.
Any other movies that you could think of that are comic book movies that are in this air, or in this kind of genre of like really cinematic, really deep?
I think you and I were talking about it, but I think Logan is
Logan would probably be the closest to me.
Yeah, in superhero.
Yeah,
form.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of other movies. Taxi Driver, for one.
Yeah.
Or I think it was called The King of Comedy, which was a Scorsese movie.
Which they did take some.
A
lot of.
Liberties.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. It's also starring Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so yeah, but movies based on comic book characters. I'm trying to think of something that was this like dark yet beautiful yet poignant yet.
There's really none.
I know. I think that this might be like one of those just once in a lifetime movies in a way. I really do. I think. Okay, then tell me this: would you? Because I can't think. Just thinking about off the top of your head, movies you've seen this year. Oscar for this movie. Oscar for Joaquin Phoenix. Oscar for Zazie Beetz. Oscar for Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Oscar for Mark Maron. You
Oscar
don't even know who Mark Maron is.
No,
do
I
you?
don't.
Well, he does podcasts. He's on Glow, but he was Murray's assistant.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, he's kind of the godfather of podcasting.
Really?
Well, you know how we've been doing this about 4 years?
Uh-huh.
He's been doing it for like 10.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wow.
he kind of is like one of the first that really, and not to lie, like I tell people all the time, like, and I think I've told you, if you kind of want to like really get some good interviewing, listening, like for tips or whatever, listen to Mark Maron. He's really good at interviewing people.
Okay.
Although you do kind of after a long time you start seeing the formula, but we all kind of have a formula.
Right.
But anyway, so all those people might not get Oscars, but I kind of scoffed at Joaquin Phoenix getting an Oscar before the movie because I was like, is this does every weird performance of the Joker deserve an Oscar like Heath Ledger? Well, this does.
This definitely does.
This
and
does.
I'm not taking anything away from Heath Ledger. Not taking anything away. But I felt like he got an Oscar win just because of him dying.
Well, there could be that. The other thing that is different is Heath Ledger had a Batman to play off of. Joaquin had to carry this
whole movie. The whole movie.
Yep. So give that man an Oscar, a Grammy, a Tony.
Emmy.
What did they call it? What's the
EGOT?
An EGOT.
Yeah. He needs all of them.
Where did I hear that just not too long ago? It was like is polishing his EGOT.
What's his face? John Legend.
Yes.
Family Feud. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's funny. Okay, so man, I freaking loved it. I got to see it again. This movie I will see many times.
Oh man, I can't wait till it comes out on Blu-ray.
So, real quick, would you like to see a continuation of this movie?
I would like to. Yeah, I would, but not with the Joker. I would like to see it with the other characters.
Oh, okay, like Riddler.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect example. Riddler.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Dive in deeper to all these mental illnesses and, really portray them. Because, I think the Riddler would be, could basically be the Johnny Depp's version of, the Secret Window?
Yeah. Well, see, the only thing is I don't want to necessarily always...
No, but I'm just saying,
But the Riddler definitely could have...
Like, if you're going to go this route and do standalone films...
Yeah.
You got to do what they're based off of.
Yeah, totally.
So like okay, Killer Croc.
Yeah.
Has a
love for BET.
Yeah. But he has a skin disease.
Yeah.
And he likes to eat people.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's stuff like that. Like, dive in deeper to stuff like that. If you're gonna do Batman, get into his nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah.
Like, Batman is not, the superhero that we all know and love.
Right.
He's a darker, like, he's basically like the Grim Knight. Basically.
Well, yeah. I mean, the he's definitely got trauma in his early childhood, because most normal people don't dress up as a bat and hang over your shoulder.
Right.
Like, he stares you down every show.
Yeah. Like,
are you ever like?
No, I just look at him up there. I'm like, oh gosh, he's still watching. He's still looking at me.
I bet he's like, I hated that movie.
Right.
I hated that movie. They should put him in jail.
No, he's like, I hated that movie.
I hated that movie. Throw him off the side of the building.
Leave him hanging.
See, everybody's always like, Batman doesn't kill. He killed the Joker. 1989. I seen it with my own eyes. All right.
Batman does kill.
But at the end of the day, do you want to see a continuation of Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker? Or do you feel like me, like, I don't know if I really want him to...
I don't know if I really want to. Would I like to see him more?
Yeah.
In I say yes and no. Yes.
I would like to, but I hope they don't.
That's where I'm at. Like, I would love to see him do some more Joker stuff, because I would like to see, like, if he does get, to Batman.
Mm-hmm. But if they don't, then my theory is correct.
Right.
That means my theory is correct.
Yeah. So, but if he does get to Batman, I would love to see that kind of interaction.
Yeah.
Because, that with
Holy
Heath
crap, though. They'd have to get Christian Bale to come back. They'd have to get somebody that was equal to Joaquin Phoenix as an actor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you couldn't just get some random Joe Schmo.
You couldn't have, and Robert Pattinson is a good actor, but he's too young. So you couldn't, I don't see this Joker and that Batman ever getting together.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really see it. I don't think that they're going to ever.
No, I don't think they will.
I think this is the only time you're going to see this, which also makes it that much more special.
It does. And like, would I want an Inception 2? Of course I do.
Yeah.
I want to know.
But then you'll know if the top is spinning.
Exactly.
So it's
kind of like, do I want it for a guilty pleasure? Yes. But there's some things that you just don't mess with after it's done.
Sometimes the mystery is what's sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the with him, like, running off, him telling, it's basically, we're asking him, what are you laughing at? Mm-hmm. You wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
You don't understand. Tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me. Like, I want to know now.
Yeah.
But that's, I like you said, I like movies that leave you on a good cliffhanger.
Yeah. And make you think.
This is a good cliffhanger.
Yeah. And it made you think.
Yeah.
And so I loved it.
All
right, man. Well, dang. We tore this one down.
How much was it?
Almost an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, Jesus.
And this is the second podcast we've done tonight.
Yeah.
So your kids are probably in the other room like, ah.
Right. I'm going to have to carry both of them
Yeah,
out.
they're probably
This will be
asleep
great.
for sure.
This will be great.
Yeah. They're probably going to try to take the cat home.
Nope. I don't even want to get into that.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, we'll see you guys, if not in a week, next week.
Yeah.
Whenever.
But,
he had such a great laugh.
oh, man.
No, that was more like a baby from House of a Thousand Corpses. All right, I'm going to quit now.
All right. Well,
let's
always.
Let's hear your best Joker laugh real quick.
I don't know.
There it is. Perfect. As always.
As always. Put a smile on your face.
Keep it natty. Oh, yeah, that was weird when you...
Yeah.
I don't like that.
And remember, that's life.
Yeah. Keep your top spinning.
Yeah.
Bye.
Later.